So just to start this video off, I wanted to mention the Deathclaw design. This was a t-shirt I showed you guys a little while ago. I'm actually going to be taking this down on November 12th, so there's be 3 more days for you to actually get this. You could get it on a t-shirt, a hoodie, a mug. You could actually get a sticker version also, which is pretty cheap. The basic t-shirt is like only 20 bucks, so I try to keep the prices fairly low. But again, it's going to be going away in 3 days, so if you want to get it now, you can, or if you don't have to, and we'll just jump into the regular video. With the implementation and introduction of Fallout 4 survival mode, there came a plethora of people trying to take that game to even the next level. Although survival mode added in things like sleep, hunger, thirst, and just a bunch of other debuffs to the game that made it just a little bit more hard to travel or interact with different things, and ammo even more scarce. But for a lot of people, that wasn't enough. They wanted more things to not necessarily make the game more scary, but to make it a bit more realistic, to really up that immersion factor. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you a few mods that I think are going to help you with that endeavor, that are going to make the game just feel a bit more realistic, and mods that actually make me feel a bit more immersed in Fallout 4 and just made the experience all around a lot more enjoyable. So some of the times when I do these videos, it's meant to be kind of one consecutive list, like download this mod, then this mod, then this mod, and then when you have all of them, your game will feel realistic. That's not really this video. These are 5 mods that each individually I played with, and then I just think putting them together will be cool, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Each of the mods I'm showing you today can really stand on its own legs, and they can be used together again, but they don't necessarily have to be. Even beyond that, all of them can be used in an existing save game if you want to go that route. So starting things off, we have Immersive HUD. This one even has immersive in the name, so you know it's going to be a good one. Basically, what this is going to do is allow you to really customize different components of your HUD. Having all those extra additions and things cluttering up your screen really destroy the immersion factor. Try playing Fallout 4 with this mod installed for a little while, and you'll realize what a difference it makes. The really cool part about this mod when compared to other HUD mods is a lot of this is really toggleable and modular. You can just straight up disable or enable certain parts of your HUD, but even beyond that, you can set certain characteristics or triggers for your HUD to return. So like, let's say when you enter combat, you want your health bar to reappear, or your health bar to reappear after a certain level. Or maybe while you're sneaking, you actually want to see that minimap on your screen. There's a ton of different things like this that you can change around, but really I like to play at the most minimal settings. The only one I would definitely want to configure is the health bar one, because hey, if you are getting at low health, you probably do want to know that. But otherwise, just having as little HUD available as possible really is cool, and it really just kind of puts you more into the game. You have to pay a lot more attention to things like sounds and a bunch of the other effects in the game that will tell you how your character is reacting or what health level you are at. Fallout 4 is not really meant to be a pleasant game. It does have some kind of dark themes, but some of those you actually have to read into, like reading through terminals to find the backstory of things. At face value, there's only a few times throughout the game that you're really like, oh god, I actually have to do that, or make that hard decision. Well, Raider Children's actually going to make it so you face those moral dilemmas or those hard decisions a hell of a lot more often. The Raiders in Fallout 4 are just a random enemy, but I feel like this mod, adding in children among their ranks, children that will attack you and scream and run away if you get too scary, really make it a lot harder to take these on. Again, this might not be for everyone. I could definitely see how it isn't necessarily going to fall into the typical immersive category, but the real reason I like this mod is because, again, it really made me feel bad when taking down certain enemies. In my initial Fallout 4 playthroughs, taking down a raider or two was an afterthought after progressing at least halfway through the game. But this mod installed, again, you really start to kind of feel something. I don't know if it really makes sense, but if you're on the fence about this, I would definitely recommend downloading this mod. It's really well implemented into the game, basically hand placing children all over in some of the different raider hubs where it kind of makes sense for them to appear, and even some other messed up stuff like having children in cages at certain locations where it would make sense. It's one of the few mods out there that are successful at creating a certain morality in Fallout 4, and I definitely would not play a game without it. If you're really just looking for one kind of overhauling mod to make the game feel a little bit more realistic, the gunplay a little bit better locational damage is going to be the mod for you. Basically, what this is going to do is overhaul the damage system and as it corresponds to different enemies in Fallout 4. This is a very expansive mod that changes a lot. I would definitely recommend reading at least part of the full description that you can find on the mod page if you do download this tier game, because it is quite expansive, and honestly, you'll want to know some of the changes that are made. But the effect of installing this is, well, going to be a few things. First and foremost, damage will just overall be increased. You're going to do more damage to enemies, the bullet sponginess of the game is going to pretty much be gone, and headshots are going to be pretty much lethal on most people right away. That's actually tied to caliber type, so like a 10mm will instantly kill a human, but it won't instantly kill a super mutant. You'll need a higher caliber to one-hit kill a super mutant with a headshot, but at the same time, that is done to you also. Even beyond that, all humans now have the same base health, and the kind of thing that makes certain enemies more difficult, like higher level raiders, more difficult than a lower lower level raider is actually the armor they're wearing. And even beyond that, helmets actually work functionally. So a helmet will prevent a one-hit kill headshot now, where previously this was kind of just boosting the overall armor rating. This of course also has massive buffs to just using armor and weapon modifications in general, and of course power armor is very powerful with this, but at the same time power armor enemies are also very powerful, and I think it's kind of fitting because those are fairly rare in Fallout 4. But even beyond all of that, if that wasn't enough, it also overhauls all of this for the different creatures you will encounter during the game also. So different creatures will have different weak points and need different calibers to kind of get headshots on them. This mod really puts a bigger focus or an emphasis on the equipment you're using and the equipment your foes are wearing as to how easy or hard they are to kill, as well as really just knowing your enemy, knowing which weak spots are on a rad scorpion versus a deathclaw versus a super mutant. It's a ton of fun to use. Again, it's really in-depth and expansive. There's a ton of features going on here, so I definitely recommend reading into it if you want to know more. So coming from one of the biggest mods on this list, we have one of the most minor ones, but one that I was actually just turned on to, and I love this mod. FLORA FX Overhaul is basically going to make it so the trees now radiate leaves off of them, as well as they just sway more in the wind. At first glance, you wouldn't really think this makes a big difference, but as you're traversing through some of these different environments with your custom weather mod going on, adding this a little effect to the trees really makes a massive change in the game. I don't know what it is about this mod, but just walking through the game with Immersive HUD or just HUD off in general and seeing this really brought me into it. It really made me pay attention to the environments a lot more. I think this is one where the video hopefully speaks for itself. I really think it makes a massive change in the game. It also is compatible with a lot of the different weather mods out there. So basically what it's going to do is increase the wind factor in a lot of these weather mods to really showcase the features of this mod. So let's say True Storms. The normal rain in True Storms after installing this mod will actually be a bit more windy. And as a result of that wind, all these trees are going to sway around and leaves will fall off of them. I feel like this is the one I have to justify the most, but trust me, try it out if you haven't already. It really is a great mod to use. And even though it kind of seems simple at first glance, this one has earned a permanent spot in my load order. So last but not least, we do have Journey. This is something that should have been in the game by default. Basically, what this is going to do is allow you to fast travel between settlements at a cost if you do have a supply line set up between those settlements. If you're playing on survival mode, it becomes immensely frustrating having to walk from side to side, from Castle to Red Rocket or Sanctuary, simply to turn in a quest or buy something from Diamond City. I hate doing that, and it really took a lot of the fun out of the game on my initial survival playthrough. I think Journey is the answer. There's a lot of these kind of fast travel alternative mods out there, but this is the most immersive and the best in my eyes. So the way this mod is going to work is basically you of course will have to first travel to whichever settlement you do want to go to. From there you set up a supply line back to the settlement you probably just came from. I really like this because of course you have to actually go and walk by foot to all these settlements at least once, potentially twice, because you have to wait for some settlers to kind of populate there to actually set up supply lines. But then after that you have a few options. You could just fast travel back and forth after you set up the supply line, or you could actually have it set so it does have a cost associated with it. You won't be able to travel just for free because of course you are now using this person's caravan. You're hitching a ride, so it's going to cost you some caps. Either way, it is really immersive. It really just makes the game a hell of a lot more enjoyable, and I hope you're playing on survival mode already. If you're not, turn on survival mode. It's a great experience, but it's an even better experience with Journey. And again, I feel like this is the most immersive out of the options available, rather than like the underground trains that are there or kind of the boats. They're cool, but maybe not the best option. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys found this video informative. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you want to see a follow-up? Do you want to see 5 more realistic mods? There are a lot out there, and even while making this video I thought of a ton more that I could be including or making a separate video on, but at the same time I don't really want to make this video too long because then it gets a little bit redundant and you guys won't download the mods nearly as often. But yeah, as always, again, thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.